Hello and welcome to another episode of Tapping into Abundant Success. Today I am joined with the amazing Gary Quigley. If you have not met Gary Quigley yet, or have not heard of Gary Quigley, now is your chance to absolutely dive in and indulge in his amazing energy that he shares with the world. So I'm going to hand you over to Gary so he can introduce himself to you and share a little bit more about what he's doing in terms of tapping into abundant success. Hello and welcome, Gary.
Hello, Vicky. Pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
It's an absolute pleasure to have you here. So tell us a little bit more about what brings you to wanting to share your journey with tapping into abundant success.
Sure. So I come from a time where when I was at school, I didn't really do very well. This before I really knew about my neurodivergence. So just to be, open, transparent, and dyslexic and dyspraxic. And that kind of set a frame in my mind of, I can't do this, I'm not good enough, and all this sort of thing, which is stuff that I carried for a long time. And then when I broke out of that, whatever that specific moment or series of moments were that allowed me to do that, I did find there was kind of that concept of compound interest. And when I started to realize that all the negative stuff I'd experienced earlier, which led to more negative stuff, as soon as I started to feel positive things, it started to allow more positive things in. So that's kind of where I'm at right now, where having a more open and honest and frank look at my life, and that a lot of the reasons why I didn't potentially or am potentially where I'd like to be is on me. It's things that I could have done better. It's things that I could have embraced more, rather than living in a kind of an ignorance of I know better. And now, yeah, I'm just more open to change, open to new directions, open to new possibilities, and as we've said before, about just embracing woo-woo, essentially.
And that's why you're here with me, because we love to embrace woo-woo.
Exactly, exactly. It's a wonderful, wonderful couple of words.
Yeah. So I'm just going to touch base on a couple of things here that you've mentioned. So I think we can all put our hands up and be completely honest. We've all gone through phases in our lives when we felt completely ignorant. But what did you feel that connection was to the neurodivergence?
So, but essentially, when I was not really understanding myself, I mean, it's one of those things where you look back in hindsight and everything can be a bit gravy. And goes, oh yeah, of course I did that then. But again, you're looking at it in hindsight. When you're in that world or in that place, it's like nothing makes sense. Everyone else is fine. I'm the only one that's broken. I'm screwed up. Doesn't matter what I do, doesn't matter what I try, and you're just constantly in that sort of cycle. So from my perspective of the neurodivergent side is when I understood this thing and I had a word to put to it, i.e. dyslexia dyspraxia, I could put in coping mechanisms and I could put in tools and tactics that have existed for many years that I didn't even know to even begin to research. I don't know what I necessarily had. And when I found that out, I was like, okay, I've got this name. What's the next step? How do I sort of address these issues? Well, let's look at other people that have had the same issues as me. And I start to see connections and patterns and things that kind of make sense. And then from that, I actually found that my discovery into my neurodivergence, as it were, kind of then revealed my inquisitive nature into things. And then that has kind of led me to today, what I do now. I work as a service design transition manager. And what I want to do in my coaching practice by educating people in these systems and processes and new ways of thinking. All that to me comes from my neurodivergence. It comes from my inquisitive nature. It's not happenstance or by accident. Again, when I sort of trace it back and I look through my history, I can see the connections. I can see that river, that timeline, and the little, the rocks or the the bits within that river of kind of, okay, that's where I hit that point, that's where I hit that point, that's where I hit that point, and how all those sort of bits kind of now make sense of why I'm now, and kind of, okay, I've hit those rocks now, and now I'm kind of in more of a flow, essentially. It's nice.
Brilliant. So I find that a lot of people who are very inquisitive and very woo-woo do have neurodivergence. Most people do. And I've seen some things go along the way, like, you know, there are no aliens on Earth. And then you read articles like those, like myself, with rhesus negative blood groups are actually from an alien form.
Oh.
So I think there is just so many different elements to this lifetime, and we can get very caught up at being boxed in. So how do you envision yourself embracing the neurodivergence and bringing in more of a spiritual connection to allow you to manage the symptoms of that then allow you to create more success in your life?
So I think it's a case for me of, as I mentioned before, like letting go of my kind of ignorance around the topic. Like one thing I've had to kind of come to in, I guess it's a sense of maturity in saying that I can't really judge something or say that's wrong when I haven't studied it for the last 10, 20, 30 years, like a lot of people. And a lot of people that I do look up to and that I admire are in that world, do embrace that side of things. So that's one of the things that's made me more open. And I would say that, again, logically wasn't a thing that I would put myself into thinking about because I didn't have anyone in my circle that thought like that. So my own pattern of behaviors, my own pattern of beliefs were kind of based around the people that I hung out with previously. Now, because the people I hang out with are, again, more open, more into spirituality, more into energy work and yeah, the timelines and second and third and fourth dimensions and all this kind of things. Because that's kind of my crowd, that's my tribe. It's a lot easier for me to embrace that sort of stuff because it's just like, well, I look at this person again, someone who I admire, someone who I believe in, who I have who's achieved amazing things, and they'll talk about this side of their life more than with this side, and I would focus on this side, the business, logistics, the money, etc. But they're way more alive when they talk about this side. So maybe there's something in that with the spirituality, energy, and that sort of stuff. So yeah, to me, it's and as you said before, a lot of those people that I mentioned are neurodivergent themselves. So it's again coming into that thing of, okay, I'm somewhat connected to these people, like energetically, mindfully, and that part of me that I'm potentially not as connected with, like if I improve that more, then what's the next level? So one thing that I really love about going down this pathway is that you never know where it's going to take you, and it's like one minute you can think, oh yeah, I've got a handle on life now, I kind of get it, I'm on board with things, and then you'll hear something, or you'll go on a Zoom, or someone will do a sound bath with you, and you're just like, Jesus, what the hell just happened? Like, and that's kind of, yeah, and it aligns with me in the way that I like to treat my life like an experiment. And I can't be congruent with that if I'm not allowing more stuff in that's not typical, let's say.
Yeah, absolutely. I get you. I hear you. It's interesting that you brought in sound baths actually, because I am at the moment being very much drawn to sound energy healing and all those things, which 3 years ago I wasn't. But I think it just goes with every up level that you go, and every time you're then clearing out old programming and becoming more yourself, you're becoming more sensitive to energies and things that are around you, and all of a sudden you find yourself, you're actually being who you were always meant to be. And then that then evolves into a whole new can of worms, so to speak. It's like Pandora's box has just been given to you, and you're like, let's go and play time, let's go and have some fun, let's go and experiment with this, that and the other. So it's really, really great to see that you've gone on this journey. And I'm really keen to see more male energies come into this world, because part of my journey this year is actually bringing more unity together, rather than there being the masculine, the feminine energy. Well, we don't want the separation anymore, we want togetherness. So my journey now is to actually bring those people together with the spiritual entrepreneur community and help them rise. So Gary, if you could share a snippet here about one of your biggest successes that you've had through this transitional stage at the moment. I know you mentioned like breaking free from that closed and ignorant mindset has been really pivotal for you, but if you could share something that has been really successful for you and you just think back and go, I'm so pleased I did that. What story would you have inside that you'd love to share today?
Yeah, so I'll definitely probably the one that sticks out most to me was the one I would say was the most impactful and the one most surprising. So it was actually when I attended a Zoom with a very talented lady called Emily Moon. So she is I don't know, I'll probably butcher what she does to be honest, but she's an opera singer, classically trained, but she also works with energies and the way that I kind of saw what she does is how I would describe, which again may be completely wrong. It's kind of like when you do a meditation, for example, because that's like, the first level. Everyone knows meditation, everyone's on board with, okay, yeah, it calms you down, etc. That's the one that's pretty much, universally accepted as the standard of woo-woo, let's say. And then I kind of experienced it like it's meditation through a very powerful voice and through almost like a guide through a voice. And when I attended this Zoom, I didn't know what to expect. But again, embrace the woo woo. Okay, there's another woo woo person. Liz Bateson recommended her. So again, that gives it a lot of credit or what's the word? Validity, possibly?
Credibility.
Credibility, that's one. Thank you, Lizzie. So it gives it credibility. So I thought, okay, let's like this person, let's check it out. And my experience with it was kind of I felt like I was going to battle. That's why I described it. But the thing that's so profound about that experience, and this is why it's such a mass example to me, is I didn't know Ebony at all. I listened to that Zoom. Off the back of how that made me feel, I felt compelled to make a comment saying I felt like I was going to battle. Um, I then won her competition for the best comment. I didn't even know was going on. That led us to have a one-to-one session in which we did a lot of deeper work, which I I wouldn't really share. That's quite personal. Um,
Get that.
but yeah, but essentially off the back of that, we've become very good friends. And I went, to her birth the other night, and I've met her friends. And it's just that catalyst of things that can just come out of being open on that one night. When again, if my mind was closed off, I'd because obviously our life is a myriad of choices.
Mm.
And in that moment, I decided that that was the right choice for me. Whereas if I had have had that ignorant mind still, maybe I would have decided, no, that's not for me. And I'm going to focus on my social media, or I'm going to focus on the one of 100 tasks I've got to do, or, whatever it is. But in that moment, that felt right. And it's paid off massively.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it's all still very new to me. And it's stuff that, yeah, like I said, I wouldn't say that I've had those levels of like seeing energies or experience anything. I do think that's quite an advanced thing. And I would say to anyone that's kind of listening, don't really go in with an expectation. Just go in sort of like trusting this is something different and it could be amazing. So give it a shot. But if you do go in with an expectation that it's going to be rubbish, it will be because you're already closed-minded.
That's a brilliant story to share there, Gary. And Emily has been on the podcast. So for anyone listening, do go and check it out. She is an absolutely amazing being. So Emily works in the ninth dimensional, and she works specifically on karma and past lifetime healing, reprogramming the brain and the body and the soul. So she's absolutely fantastic to do
So
that.
that's much better than what I said. I said meditation was singing. Yeah, terrible.
Yeah, she does. She uses sound healing within her work,
Yes,
in her own voice. Yeah, she's very, very magical. Actually, I say that Emily Moon is enchanting, very enchanting with how she works and how she brings the magic together.
I agree.
Awesome. So, Gary, whilst you're on this journey of exploration and growth and exploring, I mean, I love the exploration stage. I've got such a curious mind. I have to ask questions for everything. So I totally get where you're at. Where would you see yourself in the next 6 months as a coach in the spiritual world?
In the next 6 months, I believe I would have launched my first program, which is something I'm working on now, the Masterpiece Day, which is the tagline, achieve more in a day than you would in a week. I believe that at the moment, it's still very much based on like old school systems and productivity techniques, etc. However, I believe that as I go further in my own personal journey into the spirituality and the energies, etc., I would naturally incorporate that as I start to experience, okay, now how can I utilize this within my practice to elevate this part here? So as an example, knowing about the different brainwave states, alpha, beta, zeta, theta, sorry, and knowing that to tap into those brainwave states takes a deep level of concentration and focus to switch on that on. And it's kind of like, let's say, for example, if we were to finish the Masterpiece Day, and then if I'd learned the techniques that really created a very powerful visual memory for someone of kind of what their life could be like if they did this every time, when they're full of those endorphins and that euphoria and I just achieved this and they're so heightened. And then I can just make that even better for them by being like, okay, you're at a perfect level now. And now we're going to take it down, but we're going to take it down into a very controlled visualization sort of exercise, which right now I'd have no confidence to do that. But who knows? As I said, as I'm more open, as I'm more willing to sort of learn this stuff, then I think that'll be an incredibly powerful tool to give to someone.
Absolutely. And I think your program sounds absolutely amazing. Who doesn't want more productivity in a day, huh? Awesome work there. So, Gary, just to wrap up then, if you could wave a magic wand right now and give other spiritual entrepreneurs a wish, what would you wish for them today?
Hmm.
Think about that in the tapping into abundant success format. If you could wish something for them to tap into abundant success, what would it be?
For me, a very powerful tool has been gratitude. And I think if people can kind of, I know it can be very hard as a business owner to earn the money to put food on the table, to take care of your kids, and there's a lot of pressures in life. Um, but if you can tap into the kind of state that there's so much that we have that we don't really acknowledge until it's kind of pointed out. And I think if you use your gift of what you have to kind of remind yourself and your clients of the majesty of life, of this beautiful gift we are given. It's 90 years on this planet to do incredible, amazing things. Remind yourself that you are not following the normal prescribed framework of A to Z and relying on your pension and not understanding the mechanics of money and life and relationships. Because if you're going to be a successful business owner, that stuff comes naturally. It has to. If you're going to put yourself out there to the world without the safety net, let's say, of an established business, an established product, an established brand, which you are a part of, and it is just you. You are the brand, you are the product, you are the everything. That's incredible pressure to put out there. So gratitude and appreciation for what you are, what you've achieved, and the fact you are unique. And if you feel that inside yourself, you can only translate that to your clients. So yeah, that would probably be my answer, Vicky.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for sharing that wish with us all today. It's nice to hear what other people would like for others, because lots of people out there are so demanding. And so I want this, I want that. Okay, but what do you want for everybody else? So that's why I like to share that today. So thank you for joining me today, Gary. It's been a pleasure to have you on the podcast. For anyone watching and listening in today, if you've got any questions, check out the show notes. You can go and find Gary there, give him a follow, see what he's up to with his next mission of exploration into tapping into abundant success. And if you want to come and join me over in the Facebook groups, please feel free to do so, or check me out on Instagram, the Spiritual Entrepreneur Hub, where we're sharing lots of witchy stuff at the moment for the October and the Witch Fest that's upcoming. So on that note, over and out, have an amazing day, whatever you're up to. And just remember, you have the power to tap into abundant success every single minute of every day. Just flip the switch, and I'll speak to you all soon.